Hello comic fans, here's Earl Grey, or rather some kind of disgusting looking mocha, but it tastes good. And tastes are different, like are the opinions towards certain comic books like House of Penance, written by Peter J. Tomasi and drawn by Bertram, who gifted us recently this comic book series Little Bird by Image, which is very recommended. So I did like his stuff on his art style on Little Bird. So I got, and I like these library editions of Darkhorse. This is a thinner one, obviously, but seems to have this library format size. I haven't compared it, but it's clearly a lot oversized. So, and a beautiful book as it is. And so I was surprised to read some review amongst a lot of raving reviews, to be fair. But there was one review that I found particularly interesting because it differed so much from my assessment of this book here. It went around somehow, this is an ugly comic with ugly characters, and almost no story at all. And yeah, he couldn't recommend it obviously, but he was pretty alone with this assessment, at least where I read it. But he has some points, because I would never say that this art style here is ugly, but it's really out there, and it's not hard to imagine that some people won't dig this art style ever. But if you are a bit into Möbius, manga, Brandon Graham, that sort of stuff, more these abstract art styles, then you will dig this comic here. And he switches quite a lot between in depicting the characters, and the channel layouts have some kind of bit of collage-y feel. Sometimes it's straight violence. But the interesting thing here with this book here is, and that's really sets it apart from a lot of other books, is that the gory, the darker parts, for good part drenched in, let's see if I can find you some kind of page for this here. It gets redder and redder towards the end. Yeah, you can see it. Drenched in that Dave Stewart red. And here really he was the colorist of choice for this kind of book here, because he knows how to use reds. Or take this double page here. And really, this gore stuff here is just to depict inner tumults, the grief and feelings of guilt and real guilt. They haunt the characters here in this book. And you can see I'm dancing a bit around the subject because I don't want to tell you actually about what the stuff here actually is, because for me the story in reading this book here, 6 issues by the way, partwise oversized or an over length, more page count than usual. So it's a decent long story, even though it's a quick read because you don't have too much text in it. Oh, I've lost my thread. Yeah, it's about grief and guilt and all that stuff. And the story for me part-wise was to figure out what they are actually doing here. It's not too difficult. It's not in this Jodorowsky Morrison way that you won't ever understand it. No problem. At the end, you will get all the story here. And the interesting thing, again and again, I can't say it enough, is that all the horror here is within the characters. And that's really interesting, because that's, in my opinion, where the real horror is. And I wouldn't give this to anybody who is a bit vulnerable to anxiety, angst, or depression, or that sort of stuff. I'm a pretty ignorant man. I when it comes towards these states of mind, because I've never experienced it myself. I know about people who have depression and all these phobias and so on, but I always find myself standing around and have my hands in my pocket and, sorry, I can't help you. I don't understand you. I see the turmoil. I see the pain. And and this comic here really comes closest to really explaining these sort of mindsets, even though it is depicted in this maybe a bit goofy-looking art style, goofy-looking for some of you. The characters are sometimes a bit paper doll-like, cut-out people, especially the sister of the main character here. She's depicted very doll-like, because she has no insight into the pain inside her daughter. So she's depicted with a lot of, or even no hatching at all, just a bit, and while all the other characters show the scars that the injuries of past times, even though they are all killers and stuff. But now I feel the urge to come to the heart of the story, and if you don't want to be spoiled, then switch the video off. And I don't want to tell more than necessary. But here you can see how Bertram changes his style when he feels the need to, and it's almost like an organ, and he squeezes the right key to give us the right feel. I really do like this comic, and it's a beautifully drawn comic and done comic, and lots of pages that are just beautiful art. The story evolves to around this lady Sarah Winchester, who was the wife and heir to one of the Winchester brothers, I guess who made a fortune building these rifles. And so she's haunted, she's really haunted by the ghosts of all the people killed by these rifles. And she tries to, she feels less pain when when are people around her building at a huge house. And this huge house in San Jose is really actually, a matter of fact, Sarah Winchester had existed for real, and this house she built, you can look it up on Wikipedia. It was built over decades and with lots of staircases going to nowhere and doors to nowhere, and it's a site in San Jose in California, and so they play with this myth of her and forming a new tale. Seemingly there are other prose novels maybe, or stories with Sarah Winchester, but I haven't never had heard about the story here nor the house. And so this was interesting. I was just, I just tried my luck with Google and to look for that. So, great book, great looking comic characters, great looking book, the way it is made, and good story, and a good novelization of real facts, and doing some kind of art from something that really had happened. You know what I mean. So, thanks for watching and listening. Goodbye.